What are Americans doing at a scene like this from occupied East Jerusalem? In exclusive footage obtained by AJ+, you're watching a group of Americans build a fence outside one Palestinian family's home in Sheikh Jarrah.
Smile.
And they were hired to do it by the founder of a US registered charity.
Where are you from? Why are you doing this? Understand what you are doing.
In the last decade, US charities have funneled millions of dollars to settler groups, and these donations are tax deductible, meaning Americans are effectively subsidizing settlement activity, which is considered illegal under international law. Now, Palestinians are appealing to people in the US to stop funding their oppression. And that call is being answered.
And just as they are not welcome in Palestine, they are not welcome in New York City!
As the families impacted wage a relentless battle to stay in their homes. For now, their fate remains undecided. In this report for AJ+, we explore the links between the settler movement in Israel, charitable giving in the US.
Just one question, Rabbi, please.
And the people who are participating in it.
What's a guy from Virginia doing building a fence around a Palestinian family's home?
This is Sheikh Jarrah, a Palestinian neighborhood in East Jerusalem that was occupied by Israel in 1967. It's against international law to push Palestinians out of this area, but that hasn't stopped settlers from using Israeli courts to do just that.
You are stealing my house.
And if I don't steal it, someone else is going to steal it.
No one.
The viral video of the Al-Kurd family confronting Jacob the settler is a crude example of how an American from Long Island could be directly involved in efforts to remove people from their homes.
This is not your house.
Yes, but if I go, you don't go back. So what's the problem? What are you yelling at me? I didn't do this.
And he's not alone. AJ+ is following attempts to evict another family from Sheikh Jarrah, and what we found is a network of Israeli settlers tied to charity donations from abroad and Americans themselves who are connected to efforts to displace the Salem family. The Salems have lived in this home for over 70 years. 11 family members live under this roof, and the head of the household, Fatima, was born here.
دار امي وابوي عشت معهم ربيت معهم كبرت هون تجوزت هون صارت هون انا وجبت ولادي ابراهيم وخليل وايوب وبنات.
Of the 200 families living in this neighborhood, at least 93 are facing eviction, according to the Israeli NGO Peace Now.
مش راح نطلع من مرة هينا قاعدين هون هم يجوا يطلعونا بدخل لهم من فوق الباب.
In early December, City Council member and right-wing settler Yonatan Yosef and the Deputy Mayor of Jerusalem, Aria King, delivered an eviction notice to Fatima. Aria King is a central figure in the settler movement. He founded the Israel Land Fund, a group that advertises and facilitates property sales exclusively for Jewish residents.
The Israel Land Fund is dedicated to putting the land of Israel back into Jewish hands.
On its website, which has since been updated, you could find investing opportunities for, quote, ideology properties. But instead of Sheikh Jarrah, it's called the Hebrew Nakalat Shimon. In one listing, it said plots were being squatted on by Arabs who have built on them illegally or are renting. In an interview with AJ+, King was unapologetic about the Israel Land Fund's mission.
היחידים שיש להם בנפיט זה העם היהודי. המטרה של הקרן אדמות ישראל כשהוקמה היא שיהיה כמה שיותר אדמה בארץ ישראל, בבעלות כמה שיותר יהודים, וזו המטרה.
From 2011 to 2017, almost all of its donations were from the Central Fund of Israel, a New York-based nonprofit. And the Israel Land Fund's director is this man, Ben Packer, a nationalist rabbi from Virginia who also runs a youth hostel in Jerusalem that's been called out for its ties to extremism. Just days after the Salem family received its eviction notice, Ben Packer and a group of young Americans were caught on camera fencing off the land adjacent to the Salem house.
What are you doing? Where are you from? I'm Israeli. Where are you from? Why are you doing this?
We work for the contractor.
You work with a contractor, huh? Understand what you are doing.
With the tacit support of Israeli police, the Americans and Israeli settlers installed wiring and a fence around the land just outside the family's home.
Getting good pictures.
Hold on. 1 second.
Oh, you're American? Speak English?
Oh, it's American? No. What do you know?
And this is how Israeli settlements begin. Nearly every government in the world thinks projects like this are illegal. Israel does not. Fatima's sons pleaded with the police to recognize that this has been their family's home for generations. The Salems were among the 700,000 Palestinian refugees who were violently forced from their homes during Israel's creation in 1948. As the Salem family resisted their efforts, the American crew, led by Packer, refused to stop building the fence. The group's efforts were punctuated by moments where they played up to the camera and listened to music on their phones. Settler work relies on a wide range of government and civic support, and Americans coming to Israel to participate in projects like this is just another part of that process. A bystander in the crowd even tried to call them out.
Yeah, you come into somebody's neighborhood, you decide you're going to put up a fence on a piece of property that hasn't ever been fenced because you think it's yours. This land isn't yours. Everybody knows this land isn't yours. How long have you guys been here?
How long have you been here?
Well, 12 years.
The cars. Look at this car.
So you fenced in this territory because of the car.
It's a parking lot that belongs to us.
Oh, it belongs to you.
Soon, a key player in the settler movement shows up to the site. It's Aria King.
תמונות יפות. הישגים גדולים. בונים חניה לעירייה, חניה ליהודים, עוד מעט תהיה שכונה ליהודים. ברוך השם.
זה בחלום שלך, זה שאתה חולם.
כל החלומות שלי עד היום התגשמו.
We were able to identify several of the Americans who showed up to the Salem family house. AJ Plus reached out to them for comment. None of them responded. We also sent several requests to speak to Ben Packer, but didn't hear back. So when we learned that he was in the US to raise money, we went looking for him. We've just landed in Charlotte, North Carolina, because we've learned that Rabbi Ben Packer is here giving a series of lectures. So we're going to see if we can find him and ask him some questions. After waiting around for a few hours in a parking lot, we spotted him. Hi, Rabbi Packer. Hi, I'm Angie from AJ Plus.
Hello.
Hi, I've been trying to reach out to you for an interview, see if we could talk.
Yeah. No.
Do you have a couple minutes now before you go in, just answer a few questions? Just one question, Rabbi, please. Rabbi, can I tell you that we've seen footage of you at the Salem family property, and we just want to know, what's a guy from Virginia doing building a fence around a Palestinian family's home? What was the purpose of the fence? Rabbi, do you want to tell us who you were working on behalf of when you put the fence up? The outspoken rabbi who in Palestine screamed in the faces of the people trying to stop him was to us almost completely silent. It's really unfortunate that we couldn't get any answers tonight. Back in Sheikh Jarrah, the work to evict this family continues. And it's happening because people like Chaim Silberstein can use Israel's legal system to forcibly remove Palestinians.
זה מסמך רשמי? לא, אתה יכול להראות אותו? אני הראיתי לך נסח טוב. אם אתה מראה לי נסח טוב, אני מקבל אותו. אבל זה נסח טוב.
Chaim heads a New Jersey registered charity called Keep Jerusalem. It's played a pivotal role in influencing policy and public opinion on issues of land ownership. At the site, he ignored the videographer who was filming him.
לא נעים כשמגרשים אנשים מהבתים. לא נעים שכולם רואים אותך. רואים אותך, חיים.
Here's how this eviction is happening. Documents revealed here show that Chaim paid roughly $100,000 to buy the land from the descendants of the Jewish family who lived here before the Arab-Israeli War in 1948. And this is key because Jewish residents have a legal process to reclaim land. Palestinians do not. He later transferred the property rights to another man who transferred it again to Yonatan Yosef. Remember, Yonatan is a member of the Israel Land Fund who showed up with Aryeh King to hand deliver Fatima's eviction. Documents reviewed by AJ Plus confirm that Chaim and Aryeh's operations have relied heavily on U.S. charities and American tax-deductible donations. Chaim and Aryeh deny using charity money to acquire land. Yonatan did not respond to our request for comment. We reached out for interviews. Chaim agreed.
It's no secret that we see Jerusalem as the eternal capital of the Jewish people.
Where did the money come from to make the purchase for Lot 47?
That's not for disclosure publicly. I don't think it would be right to share information about where funds came from to buy properties.
Did you use funds from any of your charities to pay for that plot of land?
I never use any funds from any of our charities to participate in land reclamation. My charities, the charities that I run, are only educational. We only do advocacy work.
I'm just trying to clear this up because it was my understanding that you're the person who bought the property. You're listed as the trustee.
I was originally a trustee simply because the investor at the time was not in the country to sign the contract, and therefore I signed for him as a trustee, but I did not buy it. I did not use my own funds. I simply at the time signed the contract temporarily until the purchaser could take over the property legally. The goal here is to let original owners or people that are sympathetic to the cause to reclaim these properties back to the Jewish people.
But the original owners aren't moving back in, and as a result of his actions, Palestinian families are forced from their homes. Chaim's charity has received hundreds of thousands of dollars from the US and Canada, and its mission is to secure a Jewish majority in Jerusalem. In presentations available online, Keep Jerusalem says it's petitioned to demolish homes. Every settler organization has its own strategies, but what unites them is the belief that Jewish people have a biblically ordained right to the land at the expense of Palestinians and in clear violation of international law. And that's why activists from the Defund Racism Coalition are calling on New York State to strip the charity status of pro-settler nonprofits.
If you stand against the displacement of the Palestinian people, you have to stand for these organizations to have their 501c3 tax charitable status revoked.
People who donate to these charities can write it off their taxes, so American taxpayers end up subsidizing it for them.
The fact that we pay for this, the fact that our taxes fund it, and the fact that these Zionist organizations run rampant all over our city, opening up headquarters, operating freely, absolutely makes it our duty and responsibility to call them out and to say that we don't want our money kicking Palestinian people out of their homes, and we don't want our money building and expanding Israeli settlements.
At least 10 of these charities have addresses in Midtown Manhattan, and protesters marched along a route to point some of them out.
It's that building right over there. So when we approach it, I want us to be as loud as possible because I want them to hear us up there.
Free Palestine!
Back in Sheikh Jarrah, new levels of provocation continue outside the Salem home. This time, a far-right member of the Knesset set up a makeshift office outside the family's home, declaring, quote, "We are the landlords." 70-year-old Fatima was injured and later hospitalized during confrontations that followed. Still, her Palestinian neighbors remained defiant and prayed in front of the politician's tent. Later that night, at least a dozen people were injured in violence. It's now just a few weeks away from the Salem family's eviction date, but the community continues to resist. And Fatima is firm on their future. Her family will do whatever it takes to stay in their home.
أكبر منهم كلهم. الله